Thank you for watching the Animal One Guys YouTube channel. If you like this video, please leave a like and leave me a comment. And if you like a lot of my content, please subscribe and hit the bell icon if you want to get notified every time I post a new video. Thanks, guys. Alright guys, it's about 5 a.m. It is the early morning, obviously, of day 3. And this is probably going to be the last daily update video for this. And then we'll probably just move to weekly updates. I checked on her a lot during the night, so anyone with a leopard gecko, you know that their active time is like sunset to sunrise. That's their activity. It's at night like that. And she went to the bathroom again, so a good sign. Now, obviously, stuff is passing through her fairly quickly, and that's because that's just how it is when you're super thin like this. Stuff just moves, and that's okay. That's why we're doing two syringe feedings a day now. One in the morning now, and then one in the early afternoon. It's eventually going to shift to morning to early evening to late at night, like 8 or 9 p.m. But we're going to keep, and those will be probably the 3 times a day she'll get fed, and that will be the constant schedule. If you just look at her, she looks so peaceful in there. She's just sleeping away. And she's a survivor and a fighter. She comes out of her cage. She goes to the heated side. She crawls up into the humid hide. She goes, and I'm just gonna start getting her slurry ready. You guys know the routine. You've seen that. But she goes into just the cool hide that doesn't have humidity. She's crawled like in between on the side of the humid hide. Behind it, she's really ventured around the cage, which is really nice. So again, she's going out there, she's doing stuff, which is great. One thing I am gonna do, I'm gonna start doubling the Reptile aid now, so it's gonna be 4 drops now instead of 2, which is a pretty big step after 2 days of eating here, and how well she's processed it. I feel like we can put 4 drops of this in there and just start moving her. We're still using the one for the smaller reptiles. We haven't gone up in size. Then again, this guy. So, she doesn't have a lot of energy, but she doesn't want to die either. And sometimes you see this, if your reptile guys doesn't have a strong will to live, they're not going to make it through a hard situation like this. They're just going to give up. And I'm fighting really hard for her. I'm doing everything that can be done because she deserves a chance at this. She deserves a chance to be alive, to be an actual leopard gecko, to have fun, to play and things like that. Okay. But your animal won't always fight for that, especially one that's just always had a bad life, one that's always been ignored or abused, especially in a lizard and things like that. Something with a little bit of a smaller brain, unlike a dog maybe. People will say, "Do you think she knows you care about her?" Well, I've picked her up. I've definitely picked her up. I've handled her. I always wash my hands before I touch her at all. And I want to make sure she knows she's in a safe spot. She knows she's being cared for. I think she realizes that. Because I think she, when she's in her tank now and she sees she has all the buildings, all the rooms, all the space that she needs to function correctly as a leopard gecko. She has all the things that make a leopard gecko a leopard gecko. She has the humid hide. She has the cool hide. She has the hot hide. And a lot of times, unfortunately, leopard geckos don't get that. This is one of, I was going to say one of the easiest, but this may be the easiest lizard to keep. The easiest starter lizard. No UV required, so you don't need a light. No timer needed. You don't need to feed any type of rodents to. You can feed small. I mean, these guys can survive on just mealworms. They can survive, especially if you're dusting them and powdering them. But obviously, variety is the key for the healthiest one. But again, being able to survive on mealworms and live fairly well is, if you change it up every once in a while to some roaches or some beetles or some super worms, crickets, but they can survive on just mealworms. Not saying that your leopard gecko will. You may get a leopard gecko that hates mealworms, and maybe that's all you wanted to feed them. Also, guys, these are some of my most commented videos, and I love interacting with you guys. I've been reading all of the comments on both videos so far, and I can't tell you how thankful I am of them. Here's our slush, by the way. So, I like that people said, they're really worrying about her, and they're glad she's being taken care of. I appreciate it. Trying my best here, so I just want to give her the most fighting chance that I can give, because she deserves that, because she hasn't had that. Everyone deserves a chance. Here we go. We're going to give her 2 about this. So this time now we're going up to, every feeding is going to be just over half of a syringe full. And if you can tell, I don't know how well the camera picks it up, it's a little bit of a darker color, because we've just bumped it up a little bit in terms of the ratio. But I'll take her out and I'll put her down now, and the rant doesn't have to be as long. And I want you guys to see how she's doing. So the nice thing is, over such a short period of time, she has recognized when I put my 2 fingers in to the humid hide to come out and crawl and lay on me. So she does feel safe enough to do that, and that's really nice. We know that at least the bond for right now is moving in the right direction. I mean, probably when she gets all healed up and her eyesight and we get fat on her, she's not going to want to bond anymore. She's going to kind of disassociate and act like a normal, healthy leopard gecko. But I thought we'd take the time right before I feed her and just answer a few questions. So people have talked about, how come some of her nails, again, are so long? How come she's losing some of her fingers? So just so I can make that clear, that's all stuck shed. Stuck shed is caused that. So it's caused both, actually, which is kind of interesting because it does the opposite reaction. So the first one is when the stuck shed happens right at the base of, see if I can get you over here. And we're going to probably see it in this one, although I'm not sure, but that looks like we may be losing that fingertip. When the stuck shed happens on any of the fingers, for any reptiles, over time, it can cut off circulation. And then when the blood doesn't get to the extremity to feed it, to give it nutrients, it just dies and it rots off. And you saw when I was removing her stuck shed, we lost some fingers. We're probably going to lose that one. And there's that one right there. You can see it. We're probably going to lose that one as well. In someone who's malnutritioned like this, it's even worse because they don't have a lot of blood. Their blood's not healthy. It's not full of vitamins. So that happens quicker. Now, the longer nails that she has that are like really long, that's also caused by stuck shed, but what has happened is the stuck shed has built up off of the fingertip, but it's built up on the nail. Now, you're not going to lose the nail, and you're not going to lose the fingertip because of this, but what will happen is the nail won't be able to be filed down naturally by the leopard gecko climbing on things and walking around and things like that. So the nail just builds up and keeps growing and doesn't go down. And then on top of it, when you have a gecko like her who may not have a lot of energy and can't be super active, she's already not moving around and these things are already not being filed down normally. So that's what happens there. The other question that people have asked a lot, and let's hit on it, people have talked about her stomach. And I've answered it sometimes in the comments, but let's address it here. I'm going to go ahead and reposition her. Oh, she's so light. So when you... Come here. Oh, I know you're not going to like this. She's very feisty, but it's black down here. And people are like, what is wrong with that? So, again, leopard gecko stomach here is typically a bright light white, depending on the mutation. And what's happened here is those are her organs. It's not internal bleeding. Those are her organs. You can actually see lungs fill up and inflate and deflate. She's just so malnutritioned that it's become translucent. That's exactly what's happened. And that, again, will also go away, guys, with just healing her up. And then the last thing that I'm doing, that I have to do daily, is I have to clean her vent after she goes to the bathroom. Because, again, she's weak, so she can't really push everything out at the full speed. So right here, see if we can get it. There's just some remnants. So I have a damp Q-tip, and I just get down here, and you can see it on the Q-tip here, and I clean up the vent. Now, I have to do that. The last thing we want is to get an infection on top of all of what's going wrong here. That is the last thing we want. Okay, let's do the favorite part here, and let's feed her up. And guys, just so you know, the camera, because of what it does with amplifying colors and everything, she is just pale white. She doesn't have any of this color. In fact, this red towel here is really like a light red, almost pink. Here we go. Let's pick this camera up and let's show her eating. Come here. Hi. Okay, same routine. Dip the head in some water. So we just put some water on her lips. We just want her to know what's about to happen. And then we can come in and kind of catch the opening of the lip. There it is. And then we can kind of just slowly get in there. It's just about patience. I don't want to do this fast. There we go. Just gently move it back and forth. Her mouth is naturally opening to this. Just a bit more. There we go. And we're in. And we start slowly pressing the syringe in. And then there she goes, just drinking away. You've seen this before, guys. I press it just enough to get some liquid in there, and then I wait for her mouth to trigger, to do a squeeze. I'm going to take this out of there. I'm going to go fill it up again. As I as I prep things, we can look at her because she's going to be swallowing. She likes to pick her head up and everything. But a lot of times people will look at this and be like, that's a full syringe. There's so much air in here. I got to get it all down to the bottom. And then I decompress this, you'll see. And you'll see her, just watch her swallowing. Picks her head right up, puts everything down. She's doing, she like I said, this is a sign she wants to survive. You've seen her just gargle it down. You see her want more. We're the deciding force. We can't have her just eat as much as she wants because she'll throw it up and she'll get worse. But she wants to live. She wants to eat this. She wants to do what needs to be done. And as long as she's going to want to stay alive, I'm going to want to keep helping her. All right, guys. She has eaten up. So she had her, I would say, just over half, just under 3/4 of a syringe full of her nutrients and everything. Gobbled it down per the usual. She's gonna have a little burst of an attitude like she always does. But again, thank you for all the support. I'm gonna go ahead and put her back in the tank here. And then, like I said, from after today, we're probably just gonna see weekly updates because it's just gonna be rinse and repeat of tube feed now, tube feed later, tube feed even later, etc. But if there is a major breakthrough, you won't have to wait a week. I'll make sure it stays updated. Take care, everyone.